Are we rolling?
Why are you obsessive about that?
What is a question that you have been asked in the past that to you showed that the other person was ignorant or discriminating against you?
Okay. Can you lip read? I was like, no. But lip reading is not. It's not 100%. Like it's not 100%.
It's not a substitute.
Yeah, it doesn't help. It helps a lot more.
As a language. What question should you never ask someone who is transgender?
There are a number of questions you shouldn't ask someone who is transgender, but I think the most important thing is not necessarily the question, but how you ask the question. Like, may I ask you a question regarding your transition? And that gives a space for the person to say either no, yes, or maybe another time. The main one being, have you had the surgery? It's incorrect for a number of reasons. It's just inappropriate to ask what's in their pants.
Have you ever been discriminated against in your educational experience? And what was that experience like?
I didn't have a group to work with, so the teacher put me in the teacher put me in a group. So this group said no, I don't want to work with you, but I didn't know what was going on until the end of the class. So like when the professor finished class, she put me she asked to see me and another student in the same group, and the professor just said that we should work it out, or we both fail, and we fail the class, not the. But I had no idea what was going on before that. I felt like it is my responsibility to kind of teach them how to work with us.
Same question.
Since coming to MC, nothing I would consider discrimination about me being transgender has happened. I was taking 2 classes. One of them, a professor misgendered me pretty regularly. Even though they knew I was trans and I talked with them before, they knew what my pronouns were, but he kept messing up in class, and I could also tell that he recognized that he messed up in class, but just didn't do anything about it. And talked to him after, and he's like, well, I just didn't want to draw even more attention to it, and I thought that, by just trying to let it slide, it was making it better, and the truth is, people in the class are referring or referencing the professor as to what pronouns they should use for me. So whatever pronouns the professor uses is what the rest of the class is going to use. So if the professor doesn't use the right pronouns, then the rest of the class doesn't. So it's really important that they do. So when that doesn't happen, it gets really uncomfortable. And again, it's left for us to just deal with and clean up and correct everybody if we feel it's worth it. I've also been in a class where the professor knows that I'm trans, they're using the right pronouns, and somebody in the class misgenders me. And by not correcting the student there, it doesn't have to be a big deal. It just, like, restating the sentence with the correct pronoun can really make or break the student's sense of how much they're respected in the classroom. That can make it not a conducive learning environment. The professor understanding that they ultimately hold the power.
Why are video captions so important?
Why is hearing important? I mean, if you don't put captions, it's like no hearing. If you don't put captions, we don't get the information. We don't have the language. But if you don't have captions that's on the screen, then the interpreter will have to interpret and it puts strain on our eyes to have to watch the screen and watch the interpreter at the same time. So basically it can't work if there's no caption.
Why are pronouns so important?
Well, same reason why names are so important. Ultimately, it's a sign of respect. It validates the person and shows that you acknowledge who they are and you are open and willing to communicate what you need to and to the world about that person how they want and how they wish to be referred to. If the pronouns are used incorrectly, that also really doesn't feel right. And so it may seem very trivial, but in fact it makes a big difference whether or not someone's using the correct pronouns. How many ties do you have?
I have 17.
17, wow. And what percentage of those ties are Paisley?
This feels a little, active. 3 of them are floral and the rest are paisley.